So, welcome to Epic Experiences, everyone. I'm your host, Sinitra Skillern. This is episode number 3. And so, Epic stands for Encouraging People, Inspiring Communities. And so, we just come together and just talk different topics. There's no set topic that's a single thread through this podcast. We really just invite people in to share out of their lives, and whatever we can do to inspire and encourage ourselves and others is what's done on this platform. And so I have socials. You can follow me on One Epic Experience on Facebook, Epic Experiences on Instagram. I have a personal Instagram, which is CC Skills, and then my Facebook is Sinitra Skillern. So it's a lot happening everywhere, but if you feel so led, follow me. And you won't be disappointed with, these podcasts. They're really just organic, divine, and all the things. So, welcome. And so what I want to do now is introduce I'm not going to call her a guest. Guest is so impersonal, like I don't know who she is.
Oh, you know me.
And so she wears a lot of titles in my life. She is my principal. She used to be my dean. But most importantly, she is my friend and my sister in Christ. Would you introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, I'm Shatera Miller here. Sinitra said it best. We are friends and sisters in Christ, and so that is how we divinely got together. I mean, truthfully. Mm-hmm. So all the other titles don't matter.
Oh, well, there you have it. Even though we're going to talk about some of them titles just a little bit. And so we're coming together today, and this was really just birthed out of a work experience. We were having our weekly meeting, mm-hmm. and we were talking about just tasks that we have to do and talk about and things like that. And through this podcast, you're going to hear us call each other by our last names because that's what we do at work. We're just trained. So if I say Shatera, if I say Miller, she says Skills, it's just flow with us. So what happened was we were talking about a training that I was going to do or some sort of professional development, mm-hmm. and then we were talking about me sharing ideas with the team, or Miller said to me, what can I do to support? And I always struggle with that question. And so I always struggle with that question. And then we just got off on a little bit of a tangent. We was at work, so not too much of a tangent.
I think we reeled it back in at some point.
We did.
Maybe like 20, 30 minutes.
But what we did was kind of unpacked why I don't ask for help, because I struggle with the what can I do, or what can somebody do to support me. And so we kind of unpacked that there. And then she's like, if I may, if there's a suggestion box for the podcast, I would like to talk about this further with women and asking for help and being strong, all that. And I said, I'll do it on one condition. And that's if you join me.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. And talk about it with me. And so here we are. And so the title of this podcast is, in our Lil Jon voice, Be Strong for what? Why do we have to be strong as women? As Black women, as women in general. Why is that important? Why do we strive for that? Should we strive for that? And all the arms and legs to that. And so, per usual, I have my list of notes and questions, but it's organic. If we get off script, there really is no script. So we go left, right, stay center, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's what it is, but it's really to just kind of unpack and just share out of our lives and just really give some nuggets. I know a lot of people, women in particular, will resonate with this, mm-hmm. because it is such a theme throughout all of our lives.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So I'm not going to do all the talking.
Sounds like we about to do the Cupid search.
Oh, God.
You said left, right?
I know.
Right back.
We're going to go to auto spots. And
the
so,
no,
oh, God.
Okay.
This is going to be fun. Okay. Stay focused. All right. So, just really women and strength. Mm-hmm. And just from an entry-level basic definition, what does that mean to you? What's a strong woman to you?
it's such a lofty question when you think about it, and it's a heavy one. And I think when you talk about strength in women, it always evolves as you mature. Um, and so I would think in my younger years, I'm still young, but that strength would be all about endurance and persistence and this ability to move forward without skipping a beat, without acknowledging the experiences that might have caused you to kind of pause in the moment. And I think now, as I'm getting older, I think that strength is multifaceted. Because I was saying this to you earlier randomly, we really do work, y'all. I promise that.
Yeah,
we really work.
100%.
We work. But there's candid conversations, right? And so I said to you earlier that I think there is strength in exposing weakness and allowing yourself to be vulnerable, allowing yourself to acknowledge, like, oh, okay, this is heavy, and I'm going to sit in this heaviness, and then I'll figure it out tomorrow. But I don't have to figure it out in this moment. And I think all the other ingredients that I named, like persistence, resilience, those things are still true. But I don't think we always have to be so stoic.
Stoic. That's a sterile word. We'll come back to that. But if I'm hearing you right, when you were younger, you did not slow down to process. You just went. That was the strength of me. I gotta go. I gotta get it. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like a mask. Right? Like something happened. It wasn't in your favor, or it was a horrible situation. But I gotta keep pressing forward. So I'm gonna put my mask on and
push.
I'm gonna push.
Okay. So there's strength in I'm just going like a train, like a freight train, just goes.
Just go.
Just goes.
Just go. And I think that shows up, or has shown up, in various stages of my life. When that freight train comes and I'm just steaming ahead, and everything's saying, no, stop, slow down, it's okay. And it's like, nope, I gotta keep going, because I can't sit in that too long.
Yeah. So I think later on with age comes that wisdom, because when you freight train it, you're not learning. And so then freight training it, I think I may have just coined a new phrase, freight training it.
There we go.
Noted, mark it down.
Yep.
When you freight train it, you can repeat some things because you're not slowing down to process them.
Correct.
I like that. So,
and then we have all been on that hamster wheel.
Heck yeah.
At one time or two in our lives.
Oh my God. Earlier today. Anywho. But for me, strength can mean a lot of things. To me, strength, I like that where we said a mask, because sometimes strength is denying self. Like if I'm feeling a certain way, but I'm going to ignore that because I need to be strong for somebody else. And so if I sit in it, then I'm not there for somebody else. And so as women, we're in that, we either put ourselves in that position or others view us that way, and so we're in that position. I think from a family standpoint, from a historical standpoint, from all these other areas, we're placed in these roles voluntarily or just circumstantially, and then we have to freight train it sometimes and just plow through, and then we deny self. And so I don't want you out there to think that we're downing being strong. Like that's not it. We're unpacking all the arms and legs of strength, because there is strength that we possess that's magical and that's wonderful and that's awesome. But for this particular space, I think I wanted to unpack more the how we have a detriment to ourselves when we deny self.
Yeah.
Deny self meaning we don't acknowledge the fact that we don't have to be strong all the time. I think that's the important part because we don't give ourselves permission and others don't give us permission to not be strong. And so with that being said, what hats or many hats do you wear in your life? Just what do you do? Like just bullet point them down.
You said we were coming back to this, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Well, obviously, at this point, everybody knows that I wear the principal hat. I wear sister hat. I wear the friend hat, the auntie hat, the mentor hat, the coach hat. I mean, I think the list can go on, but those are the ones that are most, prominent, the ones that come to mind. A black leader hat. It's so many hats, and I'd rather just hang a few of them up, at least for a little while, like just so I could not deny me and be able to find me.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
But yeah, I think those are the ones that I wear the most.
Okay.
On a regular basis.
Yeah.
What you got cooking? You cooking up something? What you cooking?
As far as the hats I wear. Or I'm not cooking up nothing. These are just questions that we just going out of. I literally have no hidden agenda. I do not.
You like how many? What name the hat you wear? Name the hat you wear.
No, like for real. Like I think we sharing some of those, and one that you did not name is the hat. You're a creative. That's a hat that you wear as well. A hat that I am. Donning at this point in my life, but it's something that I think it's an area of confidence that you have. It's a quiet confidence because everybody don't know it. You know what I'm saying? You got to be in a little, a different part of your circle to know that you wear that hat as a creative, that you are an artist, that you have things hanging in places like that. You know what I'm saying? That's strong, and it's something that I know for me is a release. It's a space that I live in where I am learning how to be confident because I had to realize that God has gifted me things, and it's okay to walk in them. And so I don't deny self in those areas anymore. I don't back burner them because it was an imbalance. And so those hats that you wear, how do you balance them?
Oh gosh.
Or do you balance them?
I think we need to start there. Like you got me shifting in my seat. Hold on, let me readjust myself. Honestly, I don't know if I found the right balance. Right? Because oftentimes my priority is being a principal. And in that, I do sacrifice a lot of other things. I do sacrifice what I like to call creative genius. Sometimes I sacrifice, if I'm to be honest, my responsibility in my family. And when I say responsibility, it's just like showing up and being able to be there. But sometimes I just be tired.
Not tired. The R is gone.
Yeah, the R is tired. Okay, sick and tired. And even just when I think about what that means for me in my singleness. That shows up there too, where I'm sacrificing even dating because my priority is my career, for good, bad, and indifferent. So I wear a lot of hats, but I don't think I balance them all well. And sometimes there are good weeks, Heck, sometimes there's even good months.
Mm-hmm.
But in totality, I'm not sure what balance is just yet.
Okay.
I'm in the search to find it.
But that's good, and that's why I love this space, because it's not about, everything's tied up nice and neat in a bow.
Yeah.
And here it is. We got all the answers. Y'all just listen to me. Come listen to Epic Experiences. This is a place of resonance. This is a place of connection. This is a place of, wow, it's somebody else who's going through the exact same thing that I'm going. I'm not by myself.
Yeah.
And so that's what. That's just what this space provides, because we don't have it all. We don't balance it well. We don't, I'm in that bucket.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm completely topsy-turvy and imbalanced, and some days are really work heavy. Some days are, unapologetically family heavy, where I'm not doing nothing else but binge watching the show with Brother Jay. That's it. And nothing else matters.
Listen, my solitude is everything. Like, because all we do every day, we talk,
mm-hmm.
we talk to
mm-hmm.
people,
mm-hmm.
to multiple different stakeholders.
Yep.
So sometimes I just want to be on the couch and be in solitude.
That's
and
it.
I know that I'm sacrificing other things,
mm-hmm.
but sometimes that's the best thing for me to rejuvenate. And when we talk about, you said the word imbalance, and for me, it's like, it's sometimes, not sometimes, but it's okay to have a little bit of imbalance, because we are imperfect people.
Ooh.
And so if we had everything figured out, we wouldn't need him.
Oh, in the words of Sarah Jakes Roberts, Lord, I'll help. Sometimes I feel like I don't got it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, if you get it, that means you don't need me.
You don't need me. You don't need me. And what I tell you earlier, move me out the way,
please,
Lord.
and thank you.
Please.
Because sometimes we're in our own way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's and we a mess. And we
Yeah.
make a mess. We make a mess.
I'm about to say, we can make a mess.
Yes,
we can make a
big
mess. And not just in the kitchen.
No.
I gotta clean that
up. Everywhere. We make a mess everywhere.
Yeah.
And so thinking about the hats, the imbalance, and just all the things, and being in a place of, I guess being looked at, and I'm gonna put it from, I'm gonna say society, but not like, the public, but just in the circles of influence you have, the circles of exposure that you have. Like, when people look at you and say, oh, she's strong, what do you think they look at? What character, when they say, oh, yeah, she's strong, she got it, what do you think they're basing that on?
Head held high. Walking with your shoulders back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Having a smile on your face. Oftentimes we do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But don't nobody really know what's behind the smile. And it's not that there's always something behind a smile.
Right.
Let's be clear. A lot of times I just be happy.
and
let's be clear.
Yeah, we're not wearing a mask all the time. Like, we're not around here,
Yeah. Ain't nobody faking the funk 24/7.
Yeah.
That's not me.
Right.
But I think that's what folks perceive, though, is that even when there's life hardships, that again, you're that freight train. You just steamrolling ahead, and they see that as, oh, that's strong, right? And so a lot of times it's just the way you carry yourself.
Yeah.
If only they knew that the night before you were on your knees by your bedside praying. Like,
for that strength.
For that strength.
Yeah. And
you wake up the next morning and sometimes you still ain't got it all the way there.
Right.
But I think that's, some of the characteristics would be that. Right? So just how you're presenting yourself, to put it in short, how you're presenting yourself, right? To a couple of actions that you might take, right? And then even sometimes people can be faked by how you speak and what you speak, as a form of like how they see strength in you.
Yeah, right. And they could, and some can be off put by that, or put off by that, because oh, she thinks she. you know, dot. And it's like, no, you think I am, dot. I'm just me.
Correct.
I'm just walking in, being unapologetically myself.
I had to pray before I walk up in this space. You know, like
yeah, right, exactly. And so when I think about, when you talk about your younger self, my younger self, literally the definition of ignorant, like not in a, like ignorance is bliss kind of way, like just going through and doing my thing and making decisions and just not even thinking long term.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of myself as strong. I didn't start thinking of myself until, I will say this, when I met Jay and then I met his grandmother, and she told me, she was like, when you come in a room, you have a presence. I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was in my mid to late 20s, but I didn't know what she meant by that. And I think that was the first inkling of me starting to pay attention to how people viewed me.
Yeah.
Not in any kind of way, just like, I never thought about that. I just come in, I'm just me. And so as I get older, I realize, here's the table turn. When I was in my 20s, I had friends who were in their 40s at work. Okay. And they would tell me all this stuff, and I'm like, crazy. Like, that ain't how life is. That ain't how things, you know, I'm 20, I think So they were the older ladies at work. Blink, I'm the older lady at work now. But I don't think that until, let you make a TV reference. Let you say where you were when September 11th happened, and somebody say I was in the 2nd grade, and I'm like, I was grown with a whole job.
We gotta stop asking that question.
I do. I won't do it to myself again.
No.
Because it's just like,
it kind of hit you in the chest.
How old were you in the year 2000? Oh, okay.
From the can't say.
Right. Nope. Don't do it. So stay focused. So. And so in those spaces, just like, now I am perceived differently.
Yeah.
And I have to be mindful of that. Not that I'm different, not that I act differently, but just realizing that there's, and I'm gonna use this term lightly, no pun intended. There's weight that I bring. And I don't mean physical, if you know.
Here we go.
I know. I like me. I can say
I love you. Yeah. So you like you, I love you.
So, I have to realize that. But I also have to realize that it doesn't mean that I have to walk in this strength kind. I can be honest.
Yeah.
I owe that to people who I'm in connection with, or in my circle of influence, or my family. I owe it to them to be honest that I'm not doing well. I need some prayer. Or can you do this for me?
Yeah.
And in that statement, can you do this for me? The whole asking for help aspect of strength.
Yeah.
And why is that such a hard thing? And because I'm a woman and I only know what it is to be a woman, why is that so hard for us to do? To ask someone else. It could be someone you love, but to ask anyone else for help with something. Yeah. Why is that so hard for us?
I mean, because we've been conditioned, right? And especially, I mean, you said it earlier, you didn't go into detail, but you said historically. And not only are we women, but we're Black women. And historically, we've had to take care. You think about our ancestors, right?
Yeah.
They had to take care of their own family, and then somebody else's family. And they had to do it all the while having a smile on their face.
Yeah. The mask.
The mask. And it's been ingrained. It's been rooted in us. And so I don't think, when I said earlier, you know, it's a freight train never taking a pause. Well, if you think about it, our ancestors, they never had the opportunity to take a pause.
No.
Right?
No.
And so it was passed down to generation to generation. And on one hand, it might be a generational blessing that we have that type of strength to keep moving. And on the other, it could be a generational curse if it's if the dosage is wrong.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah, the bad balance or imbalance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm in a space of discovery. I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I mix these two things together to find my perfect balance in order to find my perfect peace with all the hats that I wear.
Yeah.
So again, it's rooted in our DNA. That's why it's difficult.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, our folks were never given the opportunity to say, well, this is what I need. Or to lower their shoulders. You know, when we practice mindfulness, you know, for our true north, like, it is an opportunity for us to release.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And to attune to us.
Right. It's a selfish act, but in the true sense of the word selfish. Not like to someone else's detriment, but to our benefit.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay in the right dosage, like what you said. And so if we think about, you said historically, and you kind of unpack that a bit, if we bring that a little closer, what are the roles like in your family? And I want us both to talk about this. When you think about strength for the women in your family, what does that look like? Have things been passed down or just by osmosis picked up?
Probably a mixture of both. You know, I have a lot of women in my family. They are beautiful, and I'm going to say, for the good, bad, and indifferent, they are the epitome of strong Black women. They've endured a lot. They have. And they've rose to the occasion time after time again. They have taken care of others so much, whether it's family members, friends, men, and they have done it, you know, oftentimes with sacrificing themselves. And so, yes, some things are inherent and have been passed down. And some things I kind of just like, okay, I see that. I think that's the way I need to operate. So in our family, like, for instance, if something ain't sitting right, you go ahead and vocalize that, right? And in that, there is strength, because you're using the voice that God gave you. Now, you may not always use it right, but you're using it.
Yeah.
And so that I can say has been taught. That is on purpose.
Okay.
Because the women in my family have always said, never let somebody try to suppress what you have to say.
Okay.
And so I have found ways in which to use my voice. Sometimes I think a couple of my aunties will pop out of me. Those aunties will go unnamed, but y'all know I love you. And then sometimes it's my mom and one of my other aunties who pop out of me, and that's a little bit more PC.
Okay.
A little bit more refined.
Okay.
But that's intentional.
Yeah.
That's intentional.
And they're both needed.
Absolutely.
Because there's strength in both. Because when you need we just gonna say the turn up auntie, when you need that, you pull that out.
Yes.
But then there's still some turn up in the PC, but I just know how to positively frame it.
I know how to polish it.
Yeah, I can polish it, but I'm still gonna give it to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You still gonna feel it.
Yeah.
You're gonna sit in it.
Exactly. I'm gonna sit you in it. Right. And so for me, I came from a family of single moms. And so the message that I picked up was being self-sufficient. Yeah. Like, I need to do this because ain't nobody about to pull up and do it for me.
That too.
And my mother was the master of that. My mother knew how to fix stuff. She knew how to do all the things. And so I grew up in that. So that's how I moved and grooved. It wasn't it wasn't diminishing anybody else's ability. It was, well, I know how to do it.
Yeah.
So I'll do it.
Yeah.
Ain't no harm in, why not? What's the harm in that?
Correct.
Because that's what I saw growing up. That's what I picked up on. She didn't sit down and say, let me show you how to use a hammer, but I watched her and I'm like, okay, if Mesu can pick up a hammer and go and fix whatever, then I'm going to do it too, because that's what I come from.
Yeah.
And so how that has, and I think I know I've shared this with you before, how that has kind of, it's just all teachable moments for me, is that learning how from my family dynamic and watching them be so strong all the time, and carrying that, like, yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
But now I have a spouse. And so learning with him,
yeah,
where I don't, I had to learn that when I do that, it was speaking, I don't need you. But also the double-edged sword of that is, he would ask me, why, like, now he wouldn't say the words, why don't you ask me for help?
Yeah.
But he would say, like, we a team, don't you? And I'm like, yeah.
That's such a good way of saying that.
But for me, it was like, it doesn't say that we're not a team.
Yeah.
If I just do this thing, but to him, and so learning that me being this strong woman and, things like that, but also the word says to submit unto your own husband. So I'm like, okay, how I grow up in this whole family of strong women, and now I got to submit. But there's strength in that submission.
Yeah.
And so just knowing that, and coming from a family of strong women, but then learning how that discovery, I ain't gonna never arrive. And that's not the goal. Because as you age and get older and you have more wisdom, you want to get better. If I arrive, that means I stop growing. And we don't want to do that. Yeah. Until the Lord take me on the glory, I want to learn. I want to learn how to be a better, like these are all the things, mother, sister, daughter, dean, all the things. I want to learn how to be better. And if I say, okay, this is the last thing on my list, check, then I'm stagnant, stoic, I'm stuck, I'm not moving. And that's not living. That's existing at that point. You just floating.
It's almost like you're completing a task on the checklist.
Yeah, and that's not like, you can have some goals, but it's never a part where it's like, okay, these are all the things I'm ever going to know in life. And once I get through those, I can just kind of coast until, I win, exactly. Nope, don't go that way.
No.
And so being in the family dynamic, but still evolving, because we're all individuals, and so we don't stay like, oh, I'm this way because my mama, because her grandmama and my great grandmama, like, there's some things that flow down, but then with new times and new millenniums and new experiences, we customize them to who we are, because that's what makes us us.
Yeah.
And so just trying to exude that strength, but still not to the point where, if we go back, we're not denying self, we're not freight training through life, like we're literally trying to figure out how to balance it. And there's failure in that, there's forgiveness in that, there's growth in that, there's triumph, there's all the things. And I think every time we hit one of those, it is that, let me sit in it for a second, let me process, let me slow down, because that's what's going to allow us to evolve and grow and really become a better whatever hat we're wearing at that time.
No, that's real.
Yeah.
And if we can stay here for a little bit, because you talked about self-sufficiency, and it really spoke to me, because when I think about it, because that question that you asked is like, oh shoot, what has been passed down, or what have I picked up along the way? And that is so real, self-sufficiency, because I do have a lot of women in my family that are single mothers. And it was, I think tolerance was also like picked up. When we talk about self-sufficiency, it's also like what are you willing to tolerate as well? And so that has shown up a lot in my young adult life.
Say more.
Well,
to a degree, I will. Like,
listen, I'm still single, but I wanted to stay here because I find myself, if I'm dating somebody in this, we don't have to stay in this particular part of the topic of the conversation, but when I find myself dating somebody, it is often I'm still doing things on my own. And I mean, you're single until you're married. I mean, but
that's a whole different podcast.
But
a whole other podcast.
But I share this in the sense of I do want to continue evolving and figuring out how to maintain my independence.
Yes.
While understanding that I could still be dependent on somebody.
Oh my gosh.
And so then, as I have been journaling and figuring out life as I know it, it also makes me think about, okay, well, what pauses me from feeling like I could be dependent on a man. And so trust is a part of that. And I think when we talk about what might have been passed down, so in strength there's also weakness on the other side of that. And maybe a little bit of the weakness is this lack of trust. And so yes, I'm self-sufficient, but to what limit?
To what limit?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot that I'm sitting in right now and trying to just be like, okay, shoot, I need to go home and journal.
Wow. To what limit? I'm self-sufficient, but to what limit? Because you would think saying self-sufficient, the door is open. I can go and move. I can do all these things.
Yeah.
But when you said to what limit, is that limiting me? And that's a whole different mindset or perspective that's not mainstream. And so when you talked about still being an individual and depending on someone, and when I say Brother Jay, that's my husband Jason. I lovingly call him Brother Jay. We've been together 22 years, so we've had these ebbs and flows, and we've had these we're like, oh, we need to spend all of our time together, and we're not a couple, and we're not doing all these things, to the point where when Kristen was getting older, and he was like, she's gonna be this man is wise, he just be dropping gems on me. He said, she's gonna be gone, and it's just gonna be two of us. But we're not gonna be spending every waking hour, minute, second together. Now I'm Sinitra-izing it. He didn't say it that way, but it was like
that's how you receive.
Because it was facts.
Yeah.
We each need to have our individual interests.
I love that.
And then we also gonna come to we know what we love to do together, but what do we like to do separately? Like that, and so that unlocked a door for me to I know I have this creative side. And someone else brought up the fact that since I'm not in the classroom 100% of the time, I'm not executing or walking in that creativity as much. Because when you're a classroom teacher, you're creative, you do all these things. But being an admin, there's a limit to my creativity. And so it was stifled, it wasn't flourishing. And so what's another avenue for me to do this creative thing? And so for him to say that, and me to submit to that idea, and I said, what you mean I love you? We in love. We gonna do everything. We empty nesters. No. What am I going to do so that I have an outlet? So I'm still evolving, and I'm still finding out who I am. And then what are you going to do? And it's those are things that we need to do individually, because we are two beings. We are two humans as well as a couple.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't stop, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there is strength in that, and the weakness of submitting, my weakness is submitting those ideas to God, because I can do all kinds of stuff. I could think of 1,000 different, maybe not 1,000. I could think of 998 things.
Wait.
Now you subtract two. I can think of a laundry list of things that I could do to feed this creative side.
Yeah.
You know? Ooh. Thank you for that. I was gonna say something. Nope. Stay focused. I was gonna say something later. I tell you off camera. I tell you off after we hit stop. But to submit it to the Lord and say, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And owning the fact that He's given me this creative gift. And there's nothing wrong with it's nothing. Don't be conceited about it, but be confident in what He's given me. Yeah. And He gets the increase. All of it. This is not my glory. This is not for me. This is Him walking this thing out through me, and just whatever you have it do, you have it do. So the confidence and the strength of me walking in that, but it's also me submitting whatever it is to Him still. Yeah. And so it's that double thing. I'm boldly walking in what He gave me, but I'm humbly submitting it to Him. That's a whole other thing of realizing the weakness and strength.
That's a word.
Yeah, 100%. I think I'll write that down.
Yeah, please do.
I will. I wrote this down when I was thinking about notes and just trying to gather my thoughts for today. I wrote down nurturing leader. Where's the strength in that? Because I think that's unique to being a female leader. Because I think the perception is there's going to be this soft side that comes when you lead the folks, and when you do that there's this, you soft, you're a woman. So you come in with the, oh honey, I need you to, and baby can you, and please let me know when, as opposed to, by end of day today, here are the 4 tasks I need. Please let me know when they're done. Yeah. All the best and the end. The second one was very clear, because clear is kind.
Clear is kind.
That's there. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the first part, but it's expected because you're a woman. So you're flowery. Yeah. You soft and pink and all the things.
It could be exhausting as well.
Yeah, because that's the perception. Anything outside of that, then there could be a whole other bunch of adjectives that come with it. And so it's like, how do you play this position? Where's the strength in being a nurturing leader that nobody's saying that's what you should be, but when you're not that,
are they not?
Well, facts. Yep, I think our thoughts are doing a dance right now. Yep. But yes, so there is not so many words. Yeah, it's the expectation.
It's soft skills.
Ooh.
And clear as kind.
Deafening silence. Your soft skills. Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's interesting because I don't know, like growing up, like they never called it soft skills, right? Like it just was a thing, right? Yeah, and talk about picking up things. Like I picked that up long ago. And I've operated in many diverse spaces. I think that's one thing either people truly know about me, or people just like would be like, what? You did? And like somebody the other day was surprised, like when I said I worked downtown San Francisco for a nonprofit in the financial district, and they're like, wait, what? You did? And I'm like, yeah, but like, why is that? Why are you sound so surprised? But neither here nor there. I share that to say, like, I have learned to master the soft skills, and people come to me
Facts. You are the kid whisperer. You are the. This is true. I'm
Tell me more how you send this email, or tell me more how you would have this conversation. And I think on one end, it is a nice skill to have. Especially because we're never going to get out of a space where we're not working in a diverse environment. Not unless we retire and fully do what we want to do, which is invest in our entrepreneurial endeavors. But on the other hand, being this nurturer leader, being this being equipped with this soft skill, it can be really exhausting.
Yeah, because your emotional constancy is amazing. I do not possess that. I strive to possess it a little, but I'm very passionate in my speech. Riled up, as I've been told. They get you going. Yeah,
I love it.
You know what? There's a realm for it. Everybody can't be the same. And
that is true.
But there are arenas where I need to dial it back. It needs to be dialed back. I believe I can positively frame like no other.
Yeah.
It's sincere. Like I'm not putting.
No, it's not a show.
Yeah, I genuinely believe in context, so that I'm genuine and authentic in me wanting to know information, so that I can best help with whatever it is. Because I'm not. Don't be cookie cutter. Like you can't give this every person the same thing, because every person is different.
True.
But I think sometimes when you have to step into a conversation or situation where you need to look square in somebody's eyes, and have those crucial, defining, clear conversations, I can laugh and have a cup of coffee with the best of them, but at the same time, things that need to get done need to get done. And on the flip side, I need to be able to receive that feedback if I'm, off task as well. So it's both things. It's not just delivering it. It's also being on the receiving end and acknowledging, like, you are absolutely right.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about our strength, though, right? Because we said there is a lot of beauty in our strength that we possess.
Yes.
And I think we possess the ability to receive difficult messages. But I want to go back to something, because you said nurturer leader, nurturing leader, right? And even before I became a leader, I still played this nurturing role. But like what's popping up for me right now in this moment is like, as I'm reflecting, and this is a brief reflection because we're in this moment, of like who I am as a nurturer, whether that's, let's just stick with profession, a nurturer leader. It's like who is nurturing to me?
Ooh, yes.
And I think that's what the exhausting piece is. It's like I'm over here like making sure you good, they good. Excuse me, like they good.
We on the couch, it's cool.
Okay, yeah. But for real though, who's nurturing me? Like I really think about certain situations that I've experienced or have endured. Hello, strength.
Right.
Can we say goodbye just for a moment? Like who had me?
And that's actually, I wanted to go there, so let's just go there right now. Where are your soft spaces to land when you say, or soft places to land? Like who has you? Where do you find solace? Where do you find those places where it's like, I can just, woosah, my goodness.
Yeah.
Like where are those spaces for you, even in your time of discovery? Where do you find them right now?
Yeah. I mean, I have my people, right?
Yeah.
Like I got my family, I have my friends, including you, here's the thing. Part of me sometimes doesn't want to release that burden and place on others.
We so like that. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead.
Yeah,
That's so like. Go ahead.
You know, because everybody got their stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, but you know, I have my creative genius that I find my solace and peace in, and then I have my solitude where I'm just lounging on the couch, and then I love working out, so that's another thing, which I'm finally getting back into that.
I admire you.
You know, I admire the Lord because He's the one pushing me through.
He's talking to me too. I don't know.
But you know, I know how to rejuvenate on my own.
Yeah.
Like I know my people, my spaces, my places.
Yeah.
But when it comes to my career, when it comes to work, that's the missing piece.
So then what I'm hearing is there's a separation. Like on my personal, right. But when it comes to work, sometimes you can feel like you're on an island.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they say that about leadership, so it's not surprising. I've been in leadership for a while now.
Right. Not me. I'm a baby. I'm a toddler. I'm like, wait a minute.
But, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, again, it goes back to being conditioned to be there for everybody else. But it's like, okay, where is my soft landing here? And I can't always put it in you and Renee, you know. It would be nice to be able to have, you know, a soft landing somewhere else within. But I don't want to go too far into that.
Yeah, I'm with it. A soft, as we say, a safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we found that at the conference we were at.
Totally. Yeah. Like, I think that's what is kind of like pushing my mind. Like, you know, networking on it's a professional level, but it is the personal side of professional, if that even makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. And it's like that part of it, like, because I'm still a whole person at work.
Yeah.
You know, and we talk about having our people at work, because if you don't have your people at work, it makes it a lonely place. It makes it more stressful. It makes somebody that you can at least connect with on the work.
Yeah.
You know, to try to successfully get through the days and high five somebody and be like, girl, we did it. My dude, we made it through another one. Like, that is, you know, that's the whole, there's strength in numbers. There's strength in numbers when you can connect with folks on that level and make sure that, somebody got you. But like you said, to a degree, you know that when you get into certain positions, it is what it is. Because, and I've said this story before, when I got into leadership, when I moved from being a teacher to a dean, I didn't think about seeing myself. I didn't see myself differently.
Yeah.
But I realized quickly others saw me, because after a meeting or a huddle, I would hear the laughter, and I'm going toward the laughter, and I'm like, I want to laugh too. I want to just hang out.
What happened to that laughter when they see you? Yep.
The record scratched. It was
right
silent.
there.
Folks started writing. I said, well, hold on. So, not that, you know, I didn't think I was like the subject. It wasn't that.
Yeah.
But it was like, Emma's in the room. And I, you know,
switch up.
The unspoken sentence. And I'm like, but again, and I kind of, the first time it happened, I just kind of left out the room. Like, it was awkward. And I was like, this is different. I just walked out. And I think it took maybe that second time. And then the third time I heard it, and my instinct was to go towards. And that little nudge on the inside was like, no.
Yeah.
That's not your space. And it's not to say that I'm not friendly or friends with people, but it's the, how am I seen? Not who you are, but how are you seen?
Ooh.
And it's like, dang,
Ooh.
that's a reality.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go over here then. You know, I save it for happy hour, I guess. And, you know, we all laughing and talking, but that, you know, and not trying to force it, you know, because then that's really awkward, because then you're like a bully. Yeah. You know, and that's using strength in a different way, or quote unquote power, which, whatever. Listen. But it's like, okay, recognize it, and then and acknowledge, and just be like, okay, this is what it is, and it's fine. But then you have to find those ways, and everybody does, no matter what position you're in. You have to find that space where you are being poured into, whether it's a professional mentor, whether it's, you know, somebody who does the same job as you, and you like, hey, can we talk for a second? Like, listen, strategize,
brain, like Tevin Campbell,
right? Exactly. Thought partnership, whatever buzzword we want to put on it, but just a way to just be better. And, you know, again, that's that strength. I need to submit to the fact of this. This is true right now, and then be strong enough to walk that thing out. Yeah. And that's just really that takes a lot.
Submission is hard.
It's very hard.
It's so difficult. I'm like, really? Do I have to? It could be like even a task.
Yeah. Like, cause you'll be like, I'm smart. And it doesn't mean that if you submit, you're stupid. Yeah. No, it's like, what is wrong with that? Like, no, it's everybody has to.
It's that self-sufficiency kicking in.
It is. It's like, you do. Yes. The word is yes. And the word is completed. If your name ain't in the jingle, you are completing this task. Yeah. My name ain't on nobody's jingle yet.
Listen, and the phrase is move out the way.
That's it.
Like Luda. Like,
okay. Yeah, that's a word.
But you said, you kept saying the word perceive, I think. And so I'm like, dang, like if you think about it, we often, not often, but we sometimes operate just based on the perception. Right? Just based on how people perceive.
Yes.
And oftentimes, because of who we are perceived as strong. I don't know.
But it's like I need, interesting. I give myself permission to not be. Yeah. And I've learned to answer. If somebody asks me how I'm doing, I honestly answer the question.
That's good.
Because
I don't always.
And I think it depends on who asking. Yeah. Because sometimes, do
you really care?
That's the thing. Yeah. You gotta know who cares and who don't. Because I found out quick. Somebody asked me, and I wasn't going into super detail, but I was being honest. And then the Holy Spirit was like, "Shut up," because nope, just stop. Because they were like, "Oh, I really." In their face, it was like, "Ooh, this is a lot."
Right. This is heavier than what I anticipated.
But it really wasn't a lot. It wasn't just a pat. Oh, I'm good.
Yeah, but it was heavier than they anticipated, right? So they was just like looking for a high buy. I'm good. Keep it pushing. You ever ask somebody, and this is me. I raise my hand. I'm guilty of this. You ever ask somebody in passing, "Hey, how you doing?" And they tell you, and then they say, "How are you?" And you be like, "Oh, I'm good. How about yourself?"
Wait a minute.
I just answered you so clearly. I be guilty of that sometimes.
Did she listen to me?
Yeah.
Did she listen?
And I heard them, but it's so.
It go together.
It go together. It go together.
Okay, how about yourself?
Like salt and pepper. Without Spinderella.
I'm about to say which one, the seasoning or the rap group?
The rap group, but it. Never mind. That's a
I'll listen back and catch it.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. All day. All day. You said something earlier, and it was in my mind, and I forgot. No, it will come back.
Like anything.
So, I'm saving this because I know once we get here, this is going. So, when I thought about this title, "Be Strong for What?" What's the reason? Why do we need to be? Should we be strong? What does it mean to be? All these things are flowing. Then I started thinking about the ultimate picture of the strong woman, the Proverbs 31 virtuous woman.
Amen.
She is always put up there as the example, the pillar. And so as I said, let me look, because there has to be a inch of part of a verse that talks about when she rested. It has to be.
Okay.
I said I'm going to read it again because I'm going to find where it says she sat down and crossed her legs, or she took a breath, or she slept and slumbered.
Not took a breath, though.
Something. Any level. I went through Proverbs. I read it in 4 different translations.
Like in the beginning.
In the beginning. Sorry. I started with King James because that's the fire. That's what I started with. I went to the NIV. I ended up in the easy to read. I don't know what level that is, but it reads more like a story.
Correct. Yeah.
Nowhere in there did it talk about her like it was all strength. It was all things. It was and I was like, hold the phone.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is setup. Because
talk to me more. Yeah. Tell me.
Because I felt like as a wife, as a woman, as all these things, that these are all the bullet points and things I need to strive for.
Yeah.
I need to make, my husband is blessed because of me. My kids call me blessed. I make textiles. I ain't afraid of the snow because I make clothes for my kids. I'm like a ship. I bring the food.
Come on.
I'm not lazy. I do all these things, and I'm like, sis, ain't you tired? Where's the rest? And before we get to verse 10, where this is her talking to her son, who's a king. So verse 10 is when they ask the question, how do you find a virtuous woman? And then they go through all these characteristics. Verses 1 through 9, she's talking to him about what not to do. Like, and if the one verse says, like, don't put your efforts into a woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't put your efforts into a woman, but then how do you find a virtuous woman? Yeah. These are all the things. So as I'm reading it, and I'm like, okay, I knew I was going to find something to say, see, the Lord has given us permission to rest in this proverb.
Tell me what you found.
There was none. But the nugget that I found at the end.
Drop it.
It says, hold on, let me get to it.
I'm waiting for this like a Wayne mixtape.
Oh, Lord. Okay. So it was the ERV is the easy to read version. So I'm going to go back to the King James because, again, that's my fire. But I'll do New King James. I'll step it down a bit for me. All the way now in verse.
Not all the way down.
Yeah. Okay. 30. Charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. So that's verse 30. So all the things before talk about all the tasks that she's doing. Yeah. All the things she's not afraid to work with her hands. Her arms are strong. Like all these things. I'm like, holy crap. And so when I get to this verse 30, and it says, charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Okay. So how does that tie into all these other great feats and tasks and all these things that she does that are outwardly? That people see her taking care of her children. They see her pointing to her family. She's telling her son what to do. All these things that she's doing that people can see. And when you get to verse 30, how do you see if a woman fears the Lord? You don't see that. That's not a strong arm. That's not you.
That's not service, right?
Yes, it's not. It's inward.
Yeah.
So of course, then I'm going to the Google because I need, I got to dig. I got to go
Google
and look. 100. So I found reading things, all these, and I get to this one article, and at the end, she's like, you are the Proverbs 31 woman. You all have all these things. And I'm like, okay, come on, because I don't feel like her. I probably can check off, well, I don't know how to make nothing. Well, I can make a quilt. That's never mind. I can't make a quilt. I tried it.
As Queen would say, I'm Proverbs 31-ish.
Ish. Ish. And so she says, so here's the key to being like the Proverbs 31 woman. We don't have to be and do all the things. We just really need one thing, to fear the Lord. When we do that, his wisdom touches everything we say and do. Mm. So, out of all the things that we can do as women, all the things that we can do in our strength, we can lead, we can teach, we can talk, we can do all these things. The one thing that we need to do that flows through everything else and enhances and guides everything else is our fear of the Lord. Mm. Because the wisdom that comes from that impacts everything else. Yeah. So if the Proverbs 31 woman does all those things and doesn't fear the Lord, she is literally just working. Mm-hmm. And all she gets is praise from people. Yeah. Her husband, the kids, but the wisdom from the Lord and everything else, it's not impacted by that.
No. Which goes to a conversation we were having about sacrifice versus obedience.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Unpack it. What did we say about that? That was very good. That was very good.
We were talking about how oftentimes we think we're being obedient, but really we're just sacrificing something. And sacrifice, right? We're going into it and we're like, if I sacrifice this, then I'm going to gain that. Mm-hmm. If I sacrifice that, then I'm going to gain this. Mm-hmm. Obedience, the word you've been using, is submission. We're submitting. We're doing without even thinking about what's on the other side of that obedience. Mm-hmm. And in fearing, right? Like in fearing God, it's like trusting him. Mm-hmm. So it's not fearing him as him.
Right.
But it's like saying, I trust you. Mm-hmm. Whatever you have for me is for me. Mm-hmm. And we have to submit to that.
And I'm going to do it because you said to do it.
You said to do it. And not because I think, okay, if I do this, that you're going to grant me something. Mm-hmm. Because that goes back to sacrificing. Mm-hmm. Oh, I won't go out this weekend because I know the Lord, if I go out, I ain't going to get my, my rent money or my, you know what I'm saying?
That's the sacrifice.
That's the sacrifice, right? Mm-hmm. Like I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
Because obedience, sacrifice involves us. Mm-hmm. We're in it. Mm-hmm. We have to do, it's our works or is in sacrifice. Obedience is like they fully trust.
Yeah. And you're moving yourself out the way. How many times we got to say it? Yep. Now, I'm going to probably have to say it until I learn to do it regularly.
Yeah, because we got to...
faithfully.
Consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's...
all the things.
Yeah, it's an act. It's something that we strive.
It's so hard.
And sometimes it is an act of my will. Yeah. And something I was saying this past weekend with regards to my grandmother, I was like, Lord, let your will be well with my soul. And so that covers so many things. Mm-hmm. It covers a lot. Yeah. Because his will is, we don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. And when we're obedient, we don't know what the outcome is. We know what his promises are. Yeah. But we don't know how God's going to act that thing out. No. I know, right, you know that if you do these certain amount of crunches over this amount of time, this muscle is going to develop.
Let's go work out.
Yeah, I just got to use that for you. I did. And so you know that's going to happen. Yeah. Input versus output. Mm-hmm. Obedience.
No.
Nope. You trust. You know you're going to be taken care of, but you don't know how. But there's an excitement in that because you're like, Lord, I know you're going to do it. I just don't know how. So I'm just going to be patient.
I'm just out here blind.
I'm just blind.
But look how trust is popping up again. Earlier, we talked about self-sufficiency. Mm-hmm. And you brought that up. And I was like, ooh, I'm sitting in that. Ooh, I know that. And then I brought up trust. that part of me being self-sufficient is because of lack of trust.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's how I operate with my relationship with God. I be like, Lord, I love you, but I'm so used to just doing on my own.
Wow.
And I hate that.
Wow.
I really do.
It's so knee jerk sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, God, I got this.
Yeah.
You know, but I said this earlier, that I'm so thankful that God is so omniscient,
mm-hmm.
that He doesn't have to wait. Like, I don't have to wait for Him to finish working on your thing for Him to do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Omnipresent, omniscient. He knows it all. He can do it all.
Yeah.
And so that fuels, in my mind, to a degree, it fuels my obedience.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm waiting, it's because there's something for me in the waiting.
Mm-hmm.
And there's strength in the waiting. And it's like,
there is.
Yes.
Patience is a real thing.
Yes, it is. And so you're building it like a muscle. Oh, I keep doing these workout references, Lord.
I love it.
Okay.
This is exciting
me. I know.
Okay.
I'm glad I can motivate you.
Listen, we motivating each other. We see each other.
Lord. And so in that, we're just coming back to ways to be strong that are authentic.
Yeah.
Because we can have inauthentic strength, which is the mask,
mm-hmm.
which serves no one.
Yeah.
Because it stifles us.
Mm-hmm.
It puts us in a position to be, we can kind of align ourselves with someone else's vision as opposed to, God, what do you say I should be doing? Yeah. Yeah. And so it's like, I want to have authentic strength, mm-hmm. but there's weakness in that strength. And so how do we do that? How is that done? And there's no one answer to that question. No.
But I'm like still trying to figure it out.
But that's cool.
Listen.
But that's what this is for. It's like, we are not alone in this. It's the two of us talking about it, but I know it's some happening as well. Yeah. And some connections like, wow, how do I govern myself in my relationships? Am I authentically strong at work? Am I belligerently strong? Do I think that my speech need to be strong? Not at all. Because there are some, I'll never forget this woman at this cashier at the grocery store, and this happened years ago. I was checking out.
Yeah.
I didn't realize her light was off. I just didn't. And this woman got me told, she was telling me off as I was in her line with the lilt in her voice was so beautiful that I had to realize what she was saying. I was putting myself on the belt, and she said, look at her. She don't even realize my light is off. Look, she just ain't paying attention at all. She just gonna keep putting her stuff on this belt. Like, my light is not off, and I'm not taking. It was so, and so I'm like, hey, how you doing? And I'm putting it up, and then I paused because she was just standing there, and her words kind of fell on me, and I said, I am so sorry. Mm-hmm. I said, I honestly did not know. Yeah. And she was like, I know you didn't. And she said, it's okay. I'll take you, but if someone comes behind you, can you tell them I'm closed? Yeah. And I said,
that was so smart.
This was years ago, and I remember it because she might have been a little sarcastic in her tone, but I think she picked up on that I wasn't ignoring her, but it was she didn't say, can't you see I'm closed? Right. Well, that would have been like, girl, you know what I'm saying? Which evokes a different response from me.
Correct. You got your eyebrow up, now your chest poking out the same way, your hand on your hip and everything. Yeah,
and so it's like, so that part of, being able to adjust, what does your strength look like?
Because that right there allowed, even though like humbleness wasn't a thing in this moment, but it did call for humility to be like, you know what, I really did know.
And I was real about it, like it wasn't like, oh yeah, I see that, but I'm gone. Like I wasn't trying to play no games. Yeah. And so again, that is a very, in the grand scheme of life, an insignificant exchange. That woman probably don't remember me from can pay.
Yeah.
But it left an impression on me of how you can just be authentic, like just in your everyday, now again, I lack emotional constancy at times. I'm passionate in my speech.
Oh my
and
goodness.
So I'm not mean or rude to people, but I know that sometimes my reaction can be a little spicy off rip.
Yeah.
It can be. And so it's like checking myself, like, does that de-escalate? What end does that serve? Yeah. That's not me. I can use my voice, like you said earlier. There's a time where I need to advocate for myself. Yeah. There's a time when I need to be politically correct, all those times. But in all of those, how I speak, can open or shut doors. Yeah. Can allow people to, you're going to leave an impression. But what kind of impression are you? Yeah. And so it's like being aware of those moments requires both. It requires that submission. It requires strength to know that I can do this. Yeah. I can do hard things. Now, the grocery store line ain't hard. That's an easy thing. But being in a tough, having a tough conversation with whoever. Yeah. Family member, not a stranger, but a family member, coworker, whoever. But having the strength to just like step out and do it. Mm-hmm. And it's like being authentically yourself doing it. Yeah. Because you can't, I'm not going to do it like you, and you're not going to do it like me. But having the strength in that and saying whatever my personality is, I'm authentic with it. Yeah. And that means something. Yeah. And so in all of this, in all that we have unpacked and talked about and shared, it's like we talked about us in our early years and what we thought strength was. Mm-hmm. So if you could speak to if you could encourage your earlier self, your younger self, what would you tell her about her strength? Like what you know now about yourself, what would you tell her then? What little nugget would you drop on her?
I was often quiet, unless you really got to know me. And then people just found out I was goofy and silly. But kind. And so I think I would say it's okay to be quiet and lead from the back. Mm-hmm. It's okay to speak your truth. Mm-hmm. And that strength looks different for different moments of your life. And that is okay too. I don't think we say that enough. Like sometimes strength is just giving yourself permission. Yes. To do or to be. Yes. And I think the last thing I would tell my younger self, or tell me right now, is I can step out the way and still be me and still be strong. Okay. And still receive. Because you talked about Proverbs 31 and, virtuous and selfless and strong. But selfless is what's really standing out to me. And in order to be selfless, you do have to have a level of obedience. Because in order to be selfless, you do have to move out the way. You do. Because it's not an act for you. Yeah. It's an act for somebody else, but it's more an act for him. Yeah. So I have to get to a place where I'm understanding that. And sometimes selfless also means to move out the way for yourself. Like if you think about it, sometimes you got to move out the way for yourself and be selfless for yourself, because Because, and here's why I say selfless and not selfish. Because when you think about selfish, everybody like, okay, you just focus on
the
you.
connotation
You
is
just,
bad.
yeah. And selfish means you're still in it. You're still taking reins of it. You're still doing it.
Got it.
Right?
So like less of self.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because selfish could go along with sacrifice, which I'm still in it. But selfless is more along the lines of obedience, where I'm not.
Now, mind you, I'm just having this epiphany in this moment.
And that's,
so it's a real thing. It's a flowing thought.
Yeah.
But it won't be a fleeting one.
Yeah.
I will be going back to the books on this.
Yes.
But that's what I'm feeling right now.
Okay.
That's good.
That's good. You told my younger self that. You just told her that. But I think I would tell. That's good. I would tell my younger self to. Because she was so not aware of who she was. She gave herself away a lot. And I would tell her, and I just mean like not knowing my value in any relationship, work relationship, personal, any type of relationship. Like I really kind of turned myself down. And I think I would tell her not to do that. To be present and to know that she is worth being valued. I think that's what it is. I'm worth being valued. And if the other person doesn't value me, don't change yourself don't get in the line of their vision. Don't change myself to fit whatever that thing is. Because that weakened me in my younger years. But in that age, you don't know who you are anyway.
Right.
You don't know who you are anyway, and so then you're trying to figure it out. But I was trying to figure it out based on others' perception of me. And I think when I go back to that story of when I met Jason's grandmother for the first time, I was no longer doing that. I was really like just being my authentic self. And I was on the journey of like, whoever you are, if you're authentically that, I can rock with you. Yeah. Like that's what, I use the word attracts. Like I like be authentic folk. I don't know how to be one way. I can't, listen, I cannot, it's too tiring trying to figure out who to be next to. How many times do I ask the Lord for forgiveness for my mouth? Because sometimes it get a little crazy. And so, but that's authentically who I am. I'm a mixture, what is that, between Claire Huxtable and Cardi B? I mean, I'm sorry. You know that.
But I couldn't say certain things.
It's okay. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
But in that, I would definitely tell her to, and now it's like, I'm just who I am. And like I said, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
I just do it. And there's still insecurity. I mean, insecurities don't go away. They're still there. They're still there. But it's like, I'm accepted in the beloved. You better believe.
Come on.
And so those things I try to hold to, and then
you better know who my father is.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's
stop trying to play. Find you a toy to play with. I'm me. I'm a child of God.
Don't say Mattel, Hasbro, or Parker Brothers. nowhere on me. Toys R Us is no longer. So yeah. See what I mean? See how it's so easy? Yep.
Yeah, listen, I've contained myself. My time. Okay.
And so just those things, and I just hope that through this, conversation, because we usually have these conversations like wrapped around like other, like we don't really get to just sit and chop it up and just really kind of go there and unpack stuff. And so I'm so thankful and grateful for you coming to join me and just really just add to this space of being epic.
No,
because you are, and I think that we think we're epic, but it's like no, you encourage people on a daily, and then by encouraging people individually, that's when we inspire communities, because communities is just individual people together. And so thank you for coming and putting this down, memorializing this. That's one of your words. We're going to memorialize this.
We don't okay.
On the podcast.
Okay.
Memorializing this on the podcast.
Understood. So like I gotta type email? What's it?
You do not. Lord have mercy. Okay. We sleepy. We tired. But again, thank you for coming and just really sitting and being in this safe space with me. I appreciate you so much. And again, if you have an experience, because I'm going to run out of friends and family real soon. If you have an experience that you want to share with me, I have an email. It is oneepicexperience@gmail.com. You can email me and just say, hey, I have a story to tell, and we can unpack it together, and we can make sure that you are encouraging people and inspiring communities. We thank you, and I will see you on the next episode of Epic Experiences. Peace out. Thank you. I appreciate you so much.